Well, we're here at the Joe Davidson Stadium after Altrincham's 3-1 loss to Maidenhead United. A tough day at the office today, Phil. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, first and foremost, I've got to give Maidenhead a lot of credit. They've come and they've got what they needed out of the game, so well done to them. Obviously executed their game plan really well. We were really poor, and I know that sounds like sour grapes when another manager says that and they get beat, but that's as bad as we've been, particularly second half. We looked flat, we looked devoid of ideas. And quite worrying, to be honest with you. Something needs to change in terms of it might be a personnel thing. The pitch is massively not helping us at the moment. It makes it a level playing field for a team that want to come and sit behind the ball and press at the right time. But ultimately, a bit like the second half at Hartlepool, but not for a long period of time. Hartlepool was probably 10-15 minutes second half there. We looked like we had nothing in the tank to go again, which is really concerning and something that I've got to address quickly.
Well, we started quite well. A goal in the 12th minute from Lewis Banks, his third of the season. He was awarded the Sponsors Man of the Match. What do you make of his game today?
Who's that, sorry?
Lewis Banks.
Banks, yeah. Listen, I don't think anyone comes out with much credit today, to be honest with you. So as much as he's got man of the match, Lewis knows he can play much better than that. But that's him and the rest of his teammates. So I don't really feel like standing in front of you today and heaping praise on anyone, because we were so far off it's untrue. And if I did, I'd be masquerading something that everyone would see through straight away. And our fans know football and they know what they're looking at, and a lot of the time I'll stand in front of you and O'Brien and I'll defend players, I'll defend what we're doing, but today we just weren't good enough, and like I said, we've got to change something very quickly.
Well, the equaliser came not too long after for Maidenhead off a set piece. How did you make that one?
Yeah, again, you just felt like it was going to happen today, where we've been really locked tight on set pieces, 2 restarts, 1 free kick. Something that's unforgivable now, where we've just give our man half a yard in the box and he scored, and then, like you said, the one just after half time, really poor, where we've not got a contact, we've not got anyone near the ball, and he's able to get a really easy header in. So not acceptable in any way, shape or form. So it's very difficult for me to sort of give you more than that, because it wasn't a wonder goal. That was it their second one was a great bit of play. That's one bit of good play with Reece Smith, who is a player I admire greatly. I think he's going to have a good future in the game, and you give a good player half a yard and he scored. But the other 2 goals are absolutely abysmal, not acceptable, and the lads were told as well. But ultimately I've got to be told, and our fans there, I thought we're really going to give it us, because I've been asking for more people to come through the gate. I've been promoting our style of football and what they've come to see, and we've let ourselves down so badly there. All I can do is really apologise.
Well, like you say, Reece Smith, his goal just before the half-time whistle, a very well taken goal. He was the top scorer for Maidenhead this season. That's his 8th goal this afternoon. Was he someone that you targeted before the game and identified as a threat?
Obviously not, because he scored. Yeah, definitely we target all their main threats, but sometimes when you've got good players like we have, it doesn't matter if you target them, if you make everyone aware, if they're good and they get time and space. And he didn't have a lot of time and space. He's made a great run, he's executed, he's finished very well. And like I said, you give good players time and space in the box in this division, and that's what happens.
Well, Altrincham's downfall in the last week has been goals either side of half-time, of course. Last week at Aldershot, 2 goals just before half-time. At Hartlepool, 2 goals just after. Today, either side of half-time. Is that something that you've got to address quickly?
I think yeah, definitely. It comes in waves, doesn't it, in terms of we've not done that for so long. That's something that I was probably speaking about quite regularly last season, and you're kind of hoping you've put that to bed, but it never goes away. Football's that type of game where them moments, them points in games, if you're not switched on, you can get punished, and that's what's happened to us today. But they've not really had to work hard to score the goals. That's the bit that's really disappointing for me, and I don't think their keeper's barely had a save to make in the second half, so massively disappointing on our point. So both parts of the game, in terms of in possession and out of possession, nowhere near good enough, not acceptable. But like I said, it is difficult on that pitch. Everyone can see we want to play a certain way, and I knew at some point it was going to catch up with us, and I know we're having a little bit of work done to it. So I've got to defend the players on that viewpoint. They are trying to play the way we want them to. But again, it makes it a level playing field when it's like that. But ultimately, we've played on it when it's been a bog, but it's dry now. And we've just got to keep overcoming those bits of adversity that we face at times. I know the club are working really hard to rectify that. So as much as I'll say the players weren't at it today, and I'll praise them to the hilt, but ultimately there's a number of things that we've got to do better both on and off the pitch for us to sort of achieve where we want to get come the end of the season. But ultimately we've got to turn our form around and very quickly.
Well, you made a change at half-time. You brought Lewis Baines on for Sam Roscoe. Was that an injury or a tactical change?
He's on a yellow card, and in a game like that where there was a physical battle with the forward, which it is most weeks, you're on a tightrope, and we've been stung before with yellows turning to reds, especially a defender. He's got to make tackles, he's going to be in 1v1 scenarios, and sometimes you say, can you trust a player to get through it? It's too much of a risk, and I wasn't willing to take that when I had Lewis there. I mean, Lewis and Isaac, they would normally play, wouldn't they? But Lewis has been a little bit ill this week. Isaac, he just looks dead on his feet the last game, so we needed to rotate. So that's the explanation behind why them two weren't playing. But ultimately, George Wilson was superb away at Hartlepool. Sam was great, and they deserve their opportunities. But when you see games like today, is it because we've not got our strongest team up? But you're not going to get through the whole season playing with the same 11, so we've got to have lads who can come in.
Well, you didn't make a change until the 70th minute after that, bringing Matti Kossolo on. Did you trust the players after that third goal came right after half-time to make the difference in that second half and bring something back?
I always trust my players. These are as disappointed and frustrated as I am today, and as angry as everybody is after a defeat like that, because I can't stand in front of the camera and say, listen, it's one of the best teams in the division. They're down there for a reason, and we've not put them to bed. But this happens now and again. You get beat by teams that on paper you shouldn't get beat by. But that would be disrespectful to say to Maidenhead, but ultimately it was their day and it wasn't our day, and that's the bit that it's hard to take in football, because you always want it your own way, and we want a smooth run. And I said it's obviously not going to be smooth, where people saying a blip. If you win 3 on the bounce, it's a good run. 3 losses on the bounce is a really bad run, and we've got to draw the line in the sand, and we've got to turn it round very quickly. But look at what you've got coming up: Southend away, Dagenham away. It's a massive ask of the players, but if we want to achieve our goals, we've got to sort of take something from them 2 games now.
Well, like you say, a week ago we were talking about 3 wins on the bounce, no goals conceded. Now in the last week, 3 losses in a row, 8 goals conceded, only 2 goals scored. Southend coming up away, Dagenham Red away. Where do you go from here?
Got to get a result. We've got to dig in. We've got to stick to what we do. Consistency's key. That's what we've always done. We know what we're good at. And like you said, it's not a fault of the players for a lack of trying. It just wasn't their day today, and unfortunately not our day, compounded with not being able to play on a really tricky pitch at times, allowing the opposition opportunities to hurt us. But you can see what I can see. They've scored 1 really good goal, we've scored a good goal, and they've had 2 set pieces where we've not picked up as well as we should. We've been great in them areas this season. It's been a massive area for improvement. But ultimately we weren't good enough today. We weren't good enough at Hartlepool for 10-15 minutes and got badly punished. But I looked at that game back endlessly. We were great for large parts of that game, and then Aldershot we weren't good enough. So are we having a period where we've got to have a look at ourselves and decide if we can go again, and push? And obviously when I say decide, it's not a choice. Obviously we'll go again. But we've all got to stick together now. I've said it ever since I've been here. This football club's great at that. And like I said, when I'm saying surprised they didn't give it us after the fans, because they could have done, because we were that bad, and they've turned up in the numbers. We've got to respect that, and we've got to back the fans that have got behind us there, and we've got to make sure that we're giving absolutely everything we've got on Tuesday and Saturday and for the rest of the season, because that 14 games that was there today will be 13. It'll go so quickly, and we can't let this slip through our fingers. It's too important.
Well, Southend have hit 4 today. They've beaten Aldershot 4-1. Marcus Dacker's scored a goal there. Of course, we visit him on Tuesday. How important is that Southend game going to be for our playoff hopes and potential promotion hopes as well? Yeah,
it doesn't all hang on that. Absolutely, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be twists and turns. But it's just for us. It's important for us that we get something. If we don't, it won't be the end of the world. But it just gets harder every time, and because the better teams will find an element of consistency. But if you look in the division today, I think in them areas, I think there was only Gateshead who won up there, wasn't there, in terms
Solihull
of Solihull, sorry. So anyone can beat anyone in the division, and it's a really tough place. And if you're not at it, if your percentages are down, if you've got people missing, then everything can hurt you. But it wasn't about anybody missing today. It wasn't about a refereeing decision. It was about us not being good enough today, and I'm big enough to hold my hands up, but also give Maidenhead a hell of a lot of credit, because they've come a long way. And I'm sure everybody was thinking this was going to be an Altrincham win, but they didn't, and they got the result, and they deserve full credit for that.
Yeah, Maidenhead excellent today, but small positives to take. Bromley lost, Aldershot lost, and another positive, really, another really good turnout for Altrincham, over 2,200 fans. We got 3 home games following those 2 away ones. How important is it that we get fans down here to the J Davison Stadium to support the team?
It's massive. Just keep turning up like you have. And like everyone, people who have been turning up this season know what this team are capable of. This is our bad period. Hopefully this is it, and we can turn it around. It's not like we're going into the last 5 games where we can't see a bit of form. If this is it now, we've got time to turn it around and rectify it. All teams will have a dip. And like I said, it's not a dip now, it's a bad run, because 3 games is a bad run if you want to get in the playoffs, and we've got to turn a corner sooner rather than later. And I know we will with this group.
Thanks, Phil.